Albany, if not the biggest advocate, as well as being a supporter of sportsmen and gun owners. So he's got all three of my important bases covered. Tonight he's going to share an insider's view on the issues and the events, and talk about a few other important matters. So please give a warm welcome for Senator Tom Libous.
How's everybody?
Good.
Where's Vic? I want to thank Vic for bringing this meeting to my attention so that I could come and join you, and I thought it was important that I did come because it's been a while. And I just want you to know that, last year was a tough year for me health-wise. It was not as much fun as I would expect. I was going through a lot of chemo, and a lot of you said to me tonight, gee, you look great, thank you. Prayers, they work. And right now I'm on a good run, and I feel good, and I have the energy to keep doing the job that you've elected me to do, and hopefully you'll continue to have me do for 2 more years. This whole issue is very frustrating to me. Even though you haven't heard from me maybe as much as you wanted to, my position, support, has not changed. It's unwavering. I believe that there is a way for us to do safe drilling in New York State. I believe that the DEC knows that. I believe that the Department of Health knows that. And I believe that Governor Cuomo knows that. It's just a matter of him making a decision, or someone at the top making a decision and releasing whatever information needs to come out. This year, there were a number of pieces of legislation that passed the Assembly for moratorium. You notice that those pieces of legislation did not make it to the floor or pass in the Senate. That's very good. It has not been easy, though. There have been a lot of people who continue to try to put in legislation for a moratorium. I'm not sure why, but especially when the governor has made no decision and the Department of Health and DEC is supposed to come out with the proper regulations and information to lead us forward. People have said to me, you know what's going on, tell us. I don't know what's going on. I'm as frustrated as you are, and I mean that. We have an opportunity here, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but we have an opportunity here that could help the economy of not only this region, but the state of New York. Drilling is going on, hydraulic fracturing is going on all over the country. And yeah, okay, from time to time, I'm sure mistakes have been made. Mistakes have been made in a lot of different industries. I believe a few years back, GE polluted the Hudson River. Nobody liked that, but it was corrected, and we move forward. I'm sure that there are other industries that have whoa. What a difference.
Nobody's looking at the slides now.
I'm sure that there are other industries that have had issues and problems. Nothing is going to go unscathed or without some sort of maybe setback or what have you. But what we do know and what we believe is that this can be done in an environmentally safe, protective manner. And when we sit back and wait, and as a member of the legislature, I have to tell you, there are not a lot of legislators that are supportive of this issue. There seem to be fewer and fewer. And people who are in parts of the state where there wouldn't be any drilling at all taking place seem to be concerned about us. And that's always an interesting thing, that they care so much about us. They need to pay attention and care about where they represent and where they were elected to. I have offered proposals to the governor directly. I've offered proposals that would require maybe regional drilling once the regulations were approved and and everything as far as health and safety was okayed by the health department. I think that if you move forward on this, and if you want to be hesitant, and I don't mean me, I'm talking about state officials, then take it where people want it. Take it where we're willing to accept responsibility and do it responsibly. And I think there's probably a 5 or 6 county area here in the southern tier where that can take place. So I continue to fight on your behalf. I continue to try to convince people in Albany that, we need a decision. And see, that's the other thing. Give us a blessed decision. Let us know. I mean, people have been waiting and waiting and waiting. So, unfortunately, I didn't come and tell you that I had a silver bullet tonight, because I don't have one. But I believe that if we can continue to be persistent, I believe, and I want to believe this, that something good will come of this at some point in time. When? I'm not sure. A lot of people say, well, maybe after the election. Well, we know that if Rob Astorino gets elected, that he will do something about it. He's told us so. If he doesn't, then somehow we have to convince the current governor to make a decision, and make a decision rather quickly. I'd be happy at this point in time to try to address any questions you may have of me. But again, every day when I'm in Albany, I'm fighting side by side with you to keep this issue alive, to make sure that, unnecessary legislation gets passed, because it wouldn't make any sense. We already have a moratorium going on, don't we?
Yeah.
We don't need anything else that would be into legislation.
Right.
Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Tom, I heard that, I cannot.
Here, why don't you talk in here so everybody can hear your question?
I heard that Como is going to PA on drill sites. Do you know who is getting him there, what company?
I haven't heard that. I think it would be wonderful if he did.
Yeah, it was today written up.
Anybody else see that?
Yeah.
And what did it say? I didn't see it. What newspaper was it in?
Echo Watch.
Okay, and what did they say, Vic?
They just said he was taking a tour in Pennsylvania for the next few weeks.
Oh, that's encouraging.
Sorry, how about this point? You take before,
Oh,
I'll take that.
okay, thank you. That would be very encouraging.
Except he's taking it with various parties.
I was gonna say, is your friend taking him? No, I don't think the governor's fond of him either, but I don't know. Next question, yes? Mark?
If the Senate turns over to the Democrats here in November, the governor's going to have to make a decision between then and January, because they'll immediately put a moratorium
Yeah.
in, and he probably won't veto it, right?
Yeah, we can't have that. You bring up a very good point, and I need to spend 2 minutes on it. We can't let that happen. Obviously, what you can do is keep me around, which is, I keep telling people I'm still one of 32, so I have to win just like everybody else who has an opponent has to win. We have a pretty good slate of candidates this year. I was talking to Senator Skelos. Actually, he's going to be on Binghamton Now tomorrow, because of this is a perfect example of what you're talking about. A New York City senator from a Democrat put in legislation that said illegal immigrants should be able to get a driver's license, and what was the other thing, Jim? Register to vote. I'm sorry? And get a college education.
I wanted to.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. So it is critical that we keep the Senate Republican. If we can keep a Republican or keep it in the coalition, which we have this past 2 years, then I think we're safe. I think we're safe.
Tom, I took the
Yes, sir.
mic. I'm gonna go first. But I have a few questions. and-
He's got a few questions. This is not a radio show, you know.
Just don't push me down, we'll be all right. Listen, My main concerns are, of course, the other side has so much money, they're so well organized. Last week, when at the Syracuse Fair, I called up and asked if I could come on the show because the antis were on the show. I was told there's no room for us. Basically, the media's against us, everybody seems to be against us, it all has to do with media. And I'm wondering if the governor's seeing these films like the Sting out of California where the actors against fracking took a $9 million bribe. It never really transpired, but they were offered $9 million to make an anti-movie, fracking movie, which they were going to be paid for under the table. Does he see any of this stuff? Does he know what we're fighting? The Park Foundation, the Heinz Foundation?
Yeah, you know, look, Cuomo's not a dumb man. He's a bright guy, and I think he understands what this could bring to upstate New York. But again, I think he has to make a personal political decision. You know, his opponent in the primary claims that she did so well because she had the anti-fracking vote. Who knows? Who knows? But I think we can't give up. You know, how do you take on a Goliath? Well, you chip away at it. I think you got to keep writing letters to the editor and letters to the newspaper, and keep stating facts. Keep showing. You know, every time they come out and tell us that it's harmful to the environment, you've got to have an organized effort and come right back at them and write a letter that basically says it's not true and this is why. That's the best you can do, because you're right. Believe me, I know what it's like not to have the newspaper on your side. It's you know, they love putting me on the front page, but it's not always about love and admiration, you know. But I guess that's the business I've chosen. So, but I think we have to keep chipping away at it. You can't give up. I know it's frustrating. I saw some other hands. Yes, sir.
Yes, Senator Libous. I saw that in the paper that the Democrat, what do they call it, the Democratic Conference?
Yes, sir.
In the Senate.
Yes, sir.
From what I understand is that, like, they're walking away. What exactly happened that some of them had a change of heart, that they didn't want to, like, share power with Republicans in the Senate?
Well, I can spend 2 hours on that topic, but I'll spend 1 minute. I think a lot of deals were made, and a lot of deals were broken. And I think that's good for us. I think that the Independent Democratic Conference made some decisions to protect themselves because they all had primaries. But they prevailed, they all succeeded, and they actually are going to pick up another member or a sixth member. I think the commitments that were made to them by certain people in the Democratic Conference, I think fell by the wayside, and that I believe that moving forward that whatever deal they may have cut has fallen apart. So our goal as Republicans is to take 32 seats so that we can control the House. If we don't, we will continue to work with the IDC. It only makes sense for us to do so. I on a regular basis, speak with the members of the IDC. It's always good to have conversations and you know, keep them aware of what's important to us. And we'll see where it takes us. But back to your point, Rich, the worst thing that could happen is we get a Democratic Senate, forget it. You'll never see fracking in the state.
More questions? Senator, I have a question.
Yeah.
Being the experienced political person that you are, can you speculate what Cuomo's strategy could possibly be for playing this game like this?
Yes. I can't. Look it. For 3.5 years, I've worked with the governor to get some things done. I've worked with him to keep the Binghamton Psych Center open. We recently cut a deal on the developmental center that isn't as good as I would have liked, but we're there. We've got expansion going on at Binghamton University. We're gonna do another announcement tomorrow at BCC, open up the new student housing. We've been able to get some things done. But on this issue, I can't figure them out. We've had conversations on it, and I have to be careful because you're recording this, but no, I think my heart tells me that I think he really wants to do something. But I think he's got a lot of pressure on him, and he's got to make a decision, and that pressure may be his brother-in-law, and I'm not defending him. You asked me the question, and I'm telling you what I think. About Robert Kennedy's his brother-in-law. I know that there's some factors there. I know that, he wanted the endorsement of the Working Family Party, and he kind of did some stupid things, in my opinion, to get that endorsement. I don't think he needed it. But, people do what they have to do, I guess. I don't know. I can't tell you. I've had conversations with him, and I just can't. Every time I think we get close, we don't get there.
Because he's no leader.
I'm sorry?
Leaders lead, and little dwarfs follow. And we have a dwarf. And I hope he hears it.
Tom, back to the money.
Yes, sir.
You go to any city in Craigslist and type on jobs, fracking, just the word fracking,
Yeah.
and you see $800 to $100 to $1,000 for part-time workers.
Yeah.
That's the pressure he's under. We can't afford to pay anybody here 20 cents for something he's leaving, but they're getting paid that kind of money, and he needs to realize it's a paid movement, and he needs to know where the money's coming from, and it's coming from out of state.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Tom.
Oh,
Do you have, how you doing? What's your sensation about the IDC members as to how they might feel, basically about drilling for natural gas?
Well, the interesting thing about the IDC members, they're not for hydraulic fracturing, but they haven't gone crazy against it. In other words, they understand that it's an issue that needs to be worked out. I've had conversations with Klein, Valesky, Savino. The only one who kind of gives me a real hard time on it is the kid, Carlucci. He's more adamant about it. The others, I don't see them. It doesn't affect their districts. It doesn't affect Staten Island. It doesn't affect Westchester. It doesn't. So they seem to be, at least in working with us, because there has to be a balance. There's things they want. There's things we need to do. I just don't see. I don't see a lot of activity there, and I try to do a pretty good job of managing that and just keeping them informed.
What can we do with the southern tier, where we can annex ourselves off, or,
We actually had a bill in a number of years ago to annex the state at Westchester County so that upstate would be a separate state. No, we actually had a bill we had in committee. We couldn't get it to the floor though, but there wasn't enough votes in committee. But I think it was Senator Cool and I had it, and we were pretty active in trying to prove a point. Look, all we can do is try to get our side across. I'm committed to do what I can once the election is over. Not that the election, but nobody's going to pay any attention between now and then. That's why I say that. And we just got to keep working hard. And listen, guys. And I know it's hard, but when the other side writes something in the paper, fire back at them. There's enough of you here. There's hundreds of you that aren't here. Fire back at them. You're all very knowledgeable. You can sit and talk to me and teach me an awful lot about the issue and put it in words. You should all go home tonight and write a letter. I'm serious. Every one of you should go home tonight and write a letter as to why we need safe drilling now. And then put them together and come back, give them to Scott, whomever, Danny, and so that you have them ready to go. But get angry, because you're mad. I know you are. But go home tonight and write a letter. Write a letter, get passionate about it. And if every one of you do that, you'll be ready to go, and the next time they come out against you, You email it in. Now, there's never any guarantee that they're gonna print it, but if you send 2 or 3 and they don't, you can give them a shout, and they're usually pretty good at, oh, excuse me, we didn't see that, we'll get it printed. But if every one of you went home tonight and wrote a letter as to why this is the most important thing that could happen to our community and why, and I'm sure that each of you will bring different perspectives to it, that's a lot of ammunition. That's a lot of ammunition. And once a week, send one out. All right, listen, you got a lot to discuss. I will answer your question, that'll be the last one.
Okay, Teachout mentioned she would endorse Cuomo.
She mentioned what?
Teachout mentioned she would endorse Cuomo.
Right.
If Cuomo would oppose drilling. Do you foresee?
If he would oppose.
Oppose drilling.
Ben, she said.
Oh,
Ben.
she did say that. You know,
I think he cares.
I don't think, well, I don't think he will, but then he probably will now that I said that. No, I don't think he will, because I think he understands that there are a lot of people who are supportive, okay? And you know, I'll tell you this too. One of the things that I hear in Albany, and this goes back to the letters and everything else, you know, every time a poll comes out, we lose ground, all right? It used to be 45-40, pick a number, I'm making it up, in favor. Now it's like the other way around. It's like 45-40 against. So every time Sienna or Marist does a poll on this issue, I hear my colleagues in Albany say, oh, Libous, you're full of baloney. You said people supported your district. Look what the poll shows. That's because we were beaten up in the media. That's because, you know, they've been pounding away, as you guys are saying. So that's why, you know, you got to try to fight back. And the only weapon you have is your own pen, your own letter, your own passion, and start writing. You know, unless you had a lot of money and you wanted to go up on TV, but I know you don't, because a lot of you are struggling just to pay taxes. So,
A powerful letter should come from you.
I'm sorry?
A powerful letter would come from you.
We've done our thing where we need to. You know, we get the message out everywhere we go.
They'll print one from you before they print one from me.
I'm not so sure of that, Vic. I'm not so sure of that. Okay, listen, I will leave you with this. Please don't give up. I haven't given up. This is something we need desperately, and we just have to continue to fight and do the best we can. Okay? God bless you.
Thank you, Senator.
Oh, and by the way, I didn't straighten this up. You know, there are some folks who were spreading rumors about me that I wasn't going to support Rob Astorino. I'm supporting Rob. I'm going to vote for him. Unfortunately, when you get in a political primary, people say things and do things that they shouldn't do. But I just want to make it very clear that I'm supporting Rob and I'm voting for Rob. So I want to make sure that you heard that from the horses you know what. Thanks.